FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday. I can't believe it's finally a Monday with the incomparable, real Rick Glaser. Rick, how you doing tonight, sir?
A lot better than I was doing 3 weeks ago tonight when I was laying in an emergency room. But I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
That is great news. And guys, just in case this woman, this lovely young lady, in case you thought she was a figment of Rick's imagination, no, she's very real. I got to speak to her over the phone. How do you like that, guys? So he's not jiving about that. And she sounds absolutely lovely. Rick, who'd you have to kill? Who'd you have to kill, man, for her?
I didn't really have to kill anybody, but I had to run them off.
I'm sure you had to beat him off with a stick, man. She sounds lovely, brother.
Yep, she's a perfect one. She loves boxing. She's a wonderful person. She respects boxing. She respects what I do for a living. She respects my business. And a very funny story about my wife. I was laying in bed once, but when, before you get married, you're not supposed to, we didn't.
I know.
He was under the covers. I was on top, but we were on the same bed. And make a long story short, I had a phone call from Australia and I made $5,000. And she says to me, "Did you have to take the phone call in the middle of the night?" I says, "Honey, we just made $5,000." She says, "Keep taking those calls. Keep taking those calls."
I tell you what, man, you know how to pick them because I don't. Mine would have continued to bust my balls, and she would have demanded. Well, not we. It would have been hers.
First of all, my wife, I respect my wife for so many reasons, but one of them is she's very entrepreneurial and she understands what it takes to succeed in boxing. Mm-hmm. She's watched people fail. She's watched people succeed, and she understands what it takes. And it takes a go-getter. It takes a guy that's available 24/7, 365. It doesn't matter what time it is. I answer the phone. I always tell people, if it's important enough to call me at this hour, okay, it's important enough for me to pick up the phone for you. And the one thing that never comes out of my mouth is, "Why are you calling me at this hour?" I welcome phone calls in the middle of the night because I could spend more time with people than I can during a normal business day when I get 1 million phone calls every day. So
I will say this, Rick, and once again, just with your personality, hearing your wife's personality, you know what? You guys sound like a really fun couple to hang out with.
Well, that's what a lot of people tell us. But to be honest with you, one thing about me is that I'm the same person every day. And I don't have ups and downs in my personality. I'm the same. I'm not nasty one day and Mr. Wonderful the next. I may be nasty to somebody in particular because they did something wrong, but I don't wake up. I don't wake up nasty, and I don't create that kind of air about myself. And my wife's the same way. She wakes up wonderful in the morning, and everything's hunky dory, and we just get along extremely well. And there's no negativity associated with my wife. There's no negativity associated with me. What attracted to my wife was, for me in the beginning, it wasn't the fact that I was 5'8.5" and 40 pounds overweight. So I had a lot of convincing to do. And try to tell her that I'm a good guy. Yeah. So and another thing is that. It's a kind of situation where I love when my wife travels with me, and I just, it's hard for me to even go out of town without her. And I tried going this time, and it really 24 hours in, I had the bug, like, oh my God, why did I do this? And then I was, and then it's hard, but I cope with it, and she's definitely my better half. There's no question about that. Because, I'm an animal at heart. So definitely my better half.
You know what though, man? It sounds really like you really found your best friend and your
Oh
soulmate.
yeah, definitely. Oh,
That
there's not even a
that
question. There's not even a
that's
question.
and you know what, guys? And obviously the physical part is wonderful, but the friendship, the companionship, being able to say, yeah, that's my best friend. Not only is she
Hmm.
my wife, but she is the best friend that I have in life. That is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
No, she is. She is. Listen. There's zero negativity associated with my wife. She's the perfect person. She's the perfect wife. She's the perfect everything. And I have zero complaint. Honey, put that hammer down.
Oh, ho, ho,
So,
ho, ho, ho.
Oh man.
Well,
so
I tell you what. Go
let's
ahead,
get
sir.
to the boxing. Come on, let's get to the boxing.
Hold on. We've got one order of business first. And once again, guys, we did this because, you know, Rick, we always ask a lot of you. We always want to pick your brain because you're an expert and you don't just know a little bit about or a lot about one thing. You know everything about every part of this business. And we really appreciate it. And if you can help us make sense of tonight's main event, Fury Ngannou, please help us make sense and please clear up. And once again, it's almost is a new segment just for this program.
Well,
The terrible, absurd, um, idiotic conspiracy theories drummed up by, well, the greatest fan base in the entire world. And I'm exaggerating completely. The boxing diehards, and what did we ever do to deserve these guys?
well,
Oh my
what people
gosh.
don't understand, whether you're a heavyweight and don't have to make a weight, you have to be a finely tuned athlete. Eat the right foods, do
Yep.
the right exercise, get the proper sparring, um, drink the right fluids, eat, use the right supplements, legal ones, of course, not the performance enhancing drug, but legitimate stimulants, the
Of course.
legitimate ones. And I don't think he spent any money to do anything. I think he ate like shit. I don't
Yep.
think he got the proper sparring. I never heard him using anybody
No.
reputable.
No.
I don't even know who he
In
did
fact,
use.
I know for a fact that Sugar Hill didn't show up there until recently. He's my
Right,
brother.
right.
And honestly, this horse shit about a 12-week camp,
No, he's full of shit. They're full
man,
of
he
shit.
is,
Yep.
man, I
Yeah,
don't think he spent 1 week in camp, to
no,
be honest.
no. And you have to be a finely tuned athlete. And if you're not all that in a fight, you look like dog shit. And he looked like dog shit. Now, that's a different issue. He won the fight. He won 6-4 in rounds. You
Yep.
minus the 1 point, for the
5-4.
additional round
Yep.
he lost, it was 95-94 for
That's right.
Fury.
Yep.
That's
I scored it the
I.
exact same
It's
way.
a funny thing.
Yep.
Everybody I talk to that's in the boxing business, not fighters in the sport now, that doesn't count.
Yep.
People in the business, okay? And everybody feels that Fury won, and everybody came up with the same score of
Yep.
95-94. Okay.
Exactly.
The
Yep.
fans, a lot of fans, the fans are 50-50 on who won. But listen, it was a close fight. But
And it could have easily. Oh,
morons are calling it a robbery. That's not a robbery.
yeah.
A
No.
robbery is when it goes completely the opposite way of what it was. That's a robbery. A close fight that goes either way is not a robbery. In other words, like Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Marvin Hagler was not a robbery. It was a close
No.
fight. I
Yep.
thought Hagler won, but it wasn't a robbery. It was close. It was an opinion. And it was a close
Yep.
fight.
And when scoring is a subjective process, guys.
Right.
Understand. Now, one thing I did learn about a new thing about our horrific diehard fan base of boxing, and you can always count on them to shit all over boxing. Now, and it was glaring because we had two fan bases. And once again, I didn't expect anyone from boxing to purchase this event because they don't buy shit. But they had a lot of help today. they had a lot of help on Saturday because their fan base were happy to buy it. They rationalized why they should have bought it. And he's not even in the UFC any longer. That's how they are a great fan base. And I just discovered how great, because once again, they thought, just like our guys, that at least 50% of them anyway, they actually were very outspoken in saying that boxing is a shit sport. And you know what? That was a robbery, a clear robbery. But the next day, they all weren't shitting on Tyson Fury like our guys are. They were heralding Ngannou and saying, you know what, Dana, you should have kept him. You should have kept him, UFC. See, you're an asshole because this guy is great. He is our hero, and he's now our guy in boxing. And so where all of these diehard fans are shitting on this is an embarrassment. Oh, how could he do this? He did so much damage in one night to our boxing. No, he introduced another player into the heavyweight picture. And this guy is a ticket seller, and he comes with an instant fan base. If that's doing damage to our sport, then you guys need to go follow another sport. Go do us a favor then and go watch women's tennis instead. Because guys, I think this was the only channel, G Funky, if I'm not mistaken, yours and mine. In fact, we had a Friday night episode telling all of you guys why this event is so much bigger than you think. This is going to prove to be so much more impactful and so much more significant than all of you guys. All of you guys, you had no idea. And why? Because you're too busy shitting on the sport to see anything positive and anything that the great Bob Arum and Frank Warren are putting together for you guys. And so I'll get up my soapbox. Rick, your thoughts on my rant, sir?
Well, I can't disagree with you. Boxing fans are just so pessimistic about everything. They steal the pay-per-view. The UFC folks, the MMA folks, they buy the pay-per-view.
Yep.
Everything, just everything. It's just it's like boxing fans sometimes are a cesspool.
Oh, yep. A cesspool of poisonous vermin. Well, I will say this though, guys. I will say this. This guy's if you guys were belly aching and bitching about this fight, why are they having to make this? This isn't right. This is crap. Guys, they did this out of necessity. You know why? Because you don't pay for shit. So, guys, if you didn't like this one, you better learn to love it, because you're going to see a lot more, especially because we're losing as a result of you guys, once again, not paying for shit. 20 TV dates next year is what I was told by Steven Espinoza. Yeah, that's how many they usually have every year. 20 dates you guys are going to be without. And although they were
those are mostly pay-per-view and showbox. They weren't planning on doing any championship boxing on Saturday nights next year on Showtime. And if he tells you that, he's a fucking lie. He lied again. We know he's a liar. Then he lied again. So
don't say that,
they were going to do showbox and pay-per-view next year. 20 dates. That's what their goal was. No championship boxing. So he's full of shit.
No. That's exactly what he told me. That's it. But once again, he's like, I really didn't see this coming, Joseph. He said, I thought they were going to be dazzled by the talent, and we are the only network that had the biggest events.
I've said it all along. How come I knew more about what was going on Showtime and Paramount Global than he did?
Well, and once again, I reminded everybody, guys, if you weren't aware, Rick, he's a warrior, man. This guy is a machine. In fact, he is working nonstop, hustling, trying to actually do the best work and do the best job he can. And he's contracted by so many different people in this business, managers, fighters, promoters. He
TV
does it
network,
all, guys.
TV
Networks.
networks.
He
Yeah.
does it all, guys. And so with everyone, the entire circuit that he has of clients, he has his finger on the pulse of everything boxing, and not just in the US market, around the world.
Steven
Rick,
Espinoza, he's asking everybody, how would he have known? How would I have known? So, you know,
yeah,
I said it. If for those that don't know, called it in December. I put it up on Twitter.
you did.
I said in the fourth quarter of this year of the coming year, Showtime will announce they're leaving the boxing business, and everybody thought I was fucking crazy. Then they sign up Canelo. They do Ryan Garcia and Tank Dave, all these big fights, Canelo. And they said, what are you crazy? They're doing the biggest fight. I said, it's a going out of business sale. People didn't believe me. On September 22nd, 3 weeks before it was officially announced, I put out a tweet that, not printed anywhere, breaking news, that Showtime, the Paramount Global officials have made a decision on Showtime Boxing, and that it's ending at the end of the year, and they will not be doing boxing next year. I mean, and then this asshole Steven Espinoza, this lying sack of shit, president of the Showtime Sports. He's running around at the Canelo Charlo fight with Dan Rayfield, telling him I didn't know what I was talking about. Can you imagine the balls of this guy?
Well, with that said, though, he knows who you are now. I've made an indirect introduction, and when I started talking about all the shit that you do, and he's like, yeah, I really don't want to talk about Rick Glaser anymore. But I tell you what, though, he may not like you, but he sure as hell does respect. He does respect you. That's for sure. Because I told him everything you do, and I told him about the story when we first met, and that's when I found out in a resounding manner, guys. Once again, the reason why Rick he excels at what he does. This guy, once again, he does it very efficiently, and it's shocking actually how quick and how officious he is when he actually gets the job done. He doesn't want to waste anyone's time, including his. He's a machine, guys. You have to see it to believe it. But this is why he's the real Rick Glaser. And there it is.
Well, let me tell a little story. And G-Funk was involved in it, so he knows. Ready?
Yes, sir.
So G-Funk didn't know exactly the time element here, and I didn't let him know I was fucked up in the hospital. But 4 hours after I entered the emergency room at the hospital, they didn't know I was going to live or die. They revived me in the ambulance on the way over, and I'm laying there in the emergency room, and I got G-Funk on the phone and the manager of a fighter. And I'm trying. This is October 8th. I'm trying to make a fight for the show in LA on the 21st. And basically, what happened was I'm making the deal with G-Funk and the manager, and the doctor walks in. and I could see Doctor. It's blurry, but I could see Doctor. What's his name? Like a Vashkershin or some Armenian type name, right? And right. So I look at him. I put one finger up in the air like 1 minute, and then I change it into a stop sign. My hand like a stop sign.
Wow.
And he's watching me, and I closed the deal with G-Funk on the phone. Remember G-Funk?
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I was in the hospital, and the next thing I know is the doctor. I hang up the phone. I says, "You get a contract tomorrow." I put the phone down. He said, "Yeah, Doc, how you doing?" He goes, "Let me get this straight. You came in here 3.5 hours ago. We didn't know if you're gonna live or die. What were you doing just now?" I said, "I was making a deal. Making a deal." Baba Bonnie. He starts on me, right? I says, "Doc, what are you doing here today? Are you turning a buck?" today? He goes, well, yeah. He says, well, so can I. You think you're the only one? So can I.
And, well, you know what, brother? You cannot question the perception and the keen eye of Rick Glaser. I tell you what, guys. You know what? That's a much better story than when I talked to you. I think it was the second time I spoke to you in the hospital, and then I'm in the middle of telling you something, and I'm like, oh well, wait a minute, what does that sound? And you said, I'm trying to take a whiz, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, you know what? When you're in that facility and you got to go, well, you got to go.
That's right.
That's it. But I tell you what, Rick, you are a warrior. And let me tell you, if anyone doesn't know, hopefully they're convinced now, he is a genuine credit to the business, credit to the sport, and everyone he works with. He's going to give you 120%. And it's absolutely incredible. I always pride myself in being very sharp and being full of energy, but you're a machine, dude. Do you ever sleep?
Well, I'll tell you what somebody said to me years ago, and I'm going to sum it up this way. He says, Rick, normal people get 8 hours of sleep. Normal people eat breakfast in the morning, lunch at lunchtime, and dinner. He says, you don't eat breakfast. You eat lunch whenever you feel like it. You eat dinner whenever you feel like it, and you sleep about 2.5 hours a day.
Yep.
He says, you're closer to an animal than a human being.
Yes, I agree. Is that how you got your nickname? Because I haven't heard that in years, but your nickname used to be what, the Badger?
No, the raccoon. The raccoon.
The raccoon. That's it.
The
Is that
raccoon.
how you got your nickname, the raccoon?
Yeah, I'm nocturnal. That's what they say. I'm nocturnal.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though?
Hey, Joe,
you know what?
Joe.
That's kind of fitting because you know what raccoons' nicknames are, right? The Jews of the forest. Right?
Hey, Joe, do me a
Yes,
favor.
sir.
I have a picture to share on the screen there. Just go ahead and click on that.
How do I do this?
There it is.
Okay,
it's
there it
already
is.
up. It's already up. And
Do I
look,
have to
guys,
turn up the
there.
volume?
No, it's just a picture. That's all it is.
All right.
Yeah, and I just want to say this: the deal that Rick was talking about. There's the fighter right in the middle, and then you see the rest of the team there. Everyone's happy. Everyone was satisfied.
Hey,
and,
look, it's Rodney Dangerfield in the tan suit. I tell you what, man, that looks like you guys had a really great time, man. Took care of business, but also fit in a lot of good times there, man. That looks beautiful, man.
Oh, it was great. It was great, man. And like I said, look, everyone looks happy because again, everyone the deal got done and Joe Sean got a first round knockout. So
over a 13-0 guy. Over a 13-0 guy.
13-0.
And guys, to my dismay, and like I was torn in this because I'm rooting for my brother Ronnie Shields and I'm rooting for my brother G Funky. And you know what? It was a win-win, but it was also a lose-lose for me.
What did Ronnie say about the fight?
He was like, well, these things happen, man. I wish I could say it's the first time it's happened to me, but no. He caught him cold and he didn't know how to react because that had never happened to him as a pro. And, it never happened to him as an amateur either. So once again, that is a testament to the fact that, you know what? Everyone agrees, G-Funky. Your guy, he's got something.
Yeah.
And dare I say, we'll see him in Houston, Texas. Coming out later on. Woo!
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
I tell you what, get it. No, here it is. In the immortal words of Don Chargan. Can you get it done?
Well, you know what? Rick told me the same thing. And here's how I went down, guys. October 7th, Rick calls me or he texts me on my time. And he was on the West Coast too. So again, his clock is 3 hours ahead, but he texted me. It was 12:15 a.m. And he says, hey, G, you up? I said, yep. He calls me, tells me the details of the deal. And he says, get it over to them. Get it done.
That's it.
I'm on it, Rick.
Because it's funny, whenever Don needed me to do something, I'm not be like, well, how much time okay, I've got this amount. Well, it's going to be cutting. It goes, well, can you get it done?
Yep.
For you, Don, anything. Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
You could smell. You can be a creep. You can be ugly. You can have dirty clothes, but if you can deliver,
Yep.
you're respected.
That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
That's it. So whenever he needed a press release or something written for either Golden Boy or Don Chargan Productions or Paco Presents, I always had to get it done. That's once again, you'll know if you don't, he's not going to go to you anymore. That's it. And I always loved working for Don. Don was the, he was the best, man. He taught me everything I know about this business.
Yeah, he taught me one thing.
Arguably,
Don taught me one thing: how to spell Cambria, California.
Cambria, yep. Oh, his beloved Cambria. You know, he that was his Shangri-La, basically.
I know.
Like that was the place
like
that
Wayne Newton.
He always pictured. Yep, that was dude. Come on, nothing wrong with that. But that's where he always envisioned. He and the lovely Lorraine. Everyone who knew her called her mom, and everyone she despised called her the Dragon Lady. Rick, which one did you call her?
I didn't call her either. Oh God, he liked me and she hated me. It was really funny. He really liked me and she hated me.
You know what? She's a great judge of character, usually, but
I'll
give her a pass on this one.
After she died, Don and I used to talk a lot because he really didn't talk around her. But when he get off the phone with me when she was around, she was like, "Why are you talking to him?" You know. But so after he died, he used to call me and say, "Man, your pay-per-view numbers are spot on. You know, you called that and blah blah blah." And you know, whether it was Facebook, Twitter, whether it was an interview, whatever. So, anyways, he called me up and he said to me, I used to think you were a fucking jerk off, but then I realized how smart you are.
No. It's true, guys. And it kind of actually grinds on your last nerve how often Rick is correct. And you may not like what his prognostications, but they almost always come to fruition. In fact, I say almost, but I haven't seen one yet that you've been off on, brother.
Well, I said that Crawford would beat Spence a lot easier than anybody would ever imagine. I think that was true.
You did. You did.
Yep.
You did. And once again, guys, here we've got Boxstradamus in Rick Glaser. Right here.
Boxstradamus. Oh my God.
There it is. So hey, guys, the multi-talented Rick Glaser, it's good to have you back, my friend.
So
and we really missed being with you. Go ahead, G Funky. Anything.
Like I say, let me tell a quick story about when we were down in LA last week with Rick. So after the ceremonial weigh-in, Friday afternoon, we were all just kind of hanging around, and there was a little lounge area down the hall from the ballroom where it took place. And I'm sitting there, and Rick and I are talking, and Rick shows me, he goes, "Check this out, man. See the shirt? Custom made shirt right here." And he showed me the cuffs on it, had the initials on it, and then look at the crocodile shoes. And yeah, man, it was cool, man. I thought I was talking to Ric Flair, not Rick Glaser. I was like, woo!
Styling and profiling.
Profiling, my man Rick.
I love it. I tell you what, it sounds like you guys had a blast, and I'm envious. I really wish I could have been there with you guys. You know what? Hopefully, I can get both of you guys to Houston, Texas for the Ryan Garcia fight at the Toyota Center.
There's a good chance my wife and I will be there on December.
Yes.
December 2nd show.
Because I tell you what, that's only 3 hours away from me. Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed. I will be there. G Funky. Can you make it happen?
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
No, it's all right. It was in jest. No, I don't want to put you on the spot live in front of all of our dear friends. But guys, speaking of which, let us, and once again, I said a lot of terrible but true things about the boxing diehard fan base. But guys, I'm very proud to say that on this channel, our extended War Week Radio family are indeed among the smartest, most insightful, and considerate and supportive of our beloved boxing guys. And that's the truth. So our hats off to you guys. So here he is first. We want to welcome Coco the Bulldog to the show. He says, salute, Rick Glaser. Yeah, okay. You forgave the misspelling. That's good. He says, hopefully he has some numbers for us. Not until next week, sir. Not until next week. And he shot down my numbers. He said, that's ridiculous. We will find out.
No, it did well. It did well.
Yep.
Yeah.
It did very well. From
everyone with everyone half a brain can realize that fight was going to do pretty well.
Yeah, and one indicator, if you didn't trust our judgment before it, telling you guys that it was going to be much more significant. Get on board because, well, seeing how it played out now, guys, that's all anyone can talk about. Yet these guys were shitting on this event, right? Shitting all over it and saying, oh, the real fight's going to be in Mexico, which turned out to be a great fight. Shockingly, even though it included Oshaki Foster, who's a great fighter, a dear friend of mine. And Bobby Benton's one of the more underrated trainers in boxing. But I was ecstatic. He finally let his balls hang in the center of the ring, finally let his hands go, and fought with a sense of urgency and actually took risks. And guess what? It was awesome. That was incredible. But I will say this, though, for all of those elitist, arrogant, self-absorbed assholes who are shitting all over the Tyson Fury event, what are they talking about today? They're not talking about Oshaki Foster.
Nope.
And are they talking about what a great event it was? No.
Nope.
They are shitting all over the current WBC heavyweight champ. You know what it reminded me of, Rick? His performance, Tyson Fury. It reminded me, it was very reminiscent of how terrible Josh Taylor looked against Shaq Catterall. Almost like he forgot how to fight. Is that what it reminded you of, or was it worse?
I don't know. The difference between the Josh Taylor situation was he was weight trained, and
yes,
he did not look good. This is the kind of situation where this guy wasn't weight trained. He's a heavyweight. This guy was so just out of shape. And you could see the definition of his body. You don't
when he got knocked down, everything jiggled. Yep.
You don't look at a guy's front and say he's out of shape or not. You look at his back. If he's got fat on his back and his hips, then he didn't train hard. And that's what really happened. Forget about the stomach and the chest and all that shit. Yeah, okay. But the back. And he was fat. And that's the story there. He didn't train right. He didn't eat right. He didn't take it seriously. And he didn't take it seriously until he got hit in the third round. Then he took it seriously. He said, Christ, he goes, this is real.
Yep,
so,
this is a fight.
Listen, he survived. He won. We move on. He made a lot of money. The other guy, Ngannou, made a lot of money. I believe there was like 60 million, 50 and 10.
Yep.
And
well, look, if you're calculating total pay-per-view numbers, and once again, what determines that is everything that goes to the fighters is determined by where you order the fight, right? If you use the antiquated cable and satellite distribution system, then they get a bigger cut and the fighters get less. If you ordered it on ESPN Plus, guys, the fighters get everything. So guys, in the future, if it's an ESPN distributed fight, please order it on ESPN Plus, because I already know you guys subscribe to it, because you guys, the War Week Radio extended family, are indeed the best fans of boxing.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about where these fighters go from here, and then let's move on to the fight of the weekend, which was Oshaki Foster from Houston versus Rocky Hernandez from Mexico.
Wait a
So,
minute. This is all the time you want to spend on the biggest fight of the weekend? The one that's going to be talked about still for the next several months.
No, we're going to talk about it now. Now we're going to talk about where the fighters go from here.
Oh, okay, very good.
Tyson Fury is going to fight Usyk, but it's not going to be till February or March because he got 2 cuts the other night, and one from a headbutt, and I don't know how the other one was caused. But in the meantime, they won't be fighting December 23rd for the undisputed heavyweight championship. So that'll be in February or March, and then I think that Ngannou needs a real trainer who will teach him the art of how to win rounds that are close. He didn't have a clue. That's why it cost him the fight. I'd like to see him fight Martin Piccoli in the UK. Martin Piccoli is a African heavyweight who fights out of Scotland. And I believe that that would be a sensational fight style-wise, ability-wise. Both guys can punch. Both guys are super strong. And Martin Piccoli's a real fighter, and I'd like to see him fight him next. And I think that would be a big fight in the UK.
You said, in the middle of all of that, you said Ngannou needs to get a new trainer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, Dewey Cooper's
I don't mean a new trainer. I don't mean no. Who are you talking about? Cooper?
Yeah, Dewey. Yeah,
Dewey's a good trainer, but he needs to bring
an excellent trainer.
But he didn't know how to win rounds. You got to bring a guy like you got to bring a guy like, he lost close rounds. He didn't know how to herk and jibe. He just didn't do it right. He's got to bring in, at least temporarily, a Mike McCallum, somebody like that, right in Vegas that can help teach him those things. Dewey can't teach him those things.
He does. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have the personality. I will say this. Dewey, guys, if you didn't know, and this is one of the big reasons why he was a novice, because he had never had a professional fight, but he wasn't, guys. Once again, there's a reason why he always had the advantage in UFC at the stand-up, right? And he was knocking guys the fuck out. Pardon my French. But because Dewey, he's an MMA coach, but he's also an extremely good mentor and instructor of the fundamentals of boxing.
No. I don't want you to get the wrong impression to get rid of Dewey.
No, I'm just explaining to these guys.
Bring in a second guy like a Mike McCallum who can show him how to win close rounds, because Mike McCallum won close rounds.
Once again, he doesn't have the personality to get on your ass in the corner either, to get your attention, right? And Dewey's such a soft-spoken, great guy. And he's my brother, man. I've known him for eons. And most people have never heard of him in boxing. But guys, might I remind you, he had the head trainer position, trying to prepare Jesse Vargas for Manny Pacquiao. He was his head trainer. This is a boxing coach. He knows boxing. So no one should have been surprised. And I had no idea he was with Ngannou all these years, because I don't watch UFC. UFC. Thank you, sir. I don't watch that sport, right? Whatever you want to call it, that organization. And so I didn't know he was with Ngannou for like over 3 years. And so, guys, if you wondered, wait a minute, how come he doesn't look terrible? Dewey Cooper. That guy is one of the best, most underrated trainers in all of boxing. But he's very soft-spoken, and yeah, I can see that, Rick. Wow, how you would notice that, of course. Dude, you pick up on everything, man.
But Rick's 100%.
Yeah.
There was a lot of rounds that there wasn't a lot of action happening, especially from Fury, that Ngannou could have took advantage of, but he just doesn't have that kind of experience.
God just stood there with his hands real high,
they were
right in front of him, wasn't doing nothing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
so,
that kind of kills this whole notion that Ngannou was robbed. Like, no, man. Like, there was just maybe 2 rounds, 3 at the max, that we could say Ngannou clearly won. Yeah, and that was the knockdown round. Round 8 was another one that was a clear Ngannou round. So, Yeah, I'm not buying the robbery talk, man. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
look, guys, there were a lot of, because both guys were sucking wind, and I mean, so they were posturing, but they weren't throwing any punches, and they were very close, uneventful rounds, difficult to score. They could have easily gone either way, and when you have about 4 of those, that's what I counted when I rewatched the fight, and I'm like, so how can you actually call this a robbery when you have 4 swing rounds that could easily go to either guy?
Yeah.
Well, what happened was that this guy exceeded expectations because everybody
Yes,
was
he did.
figuring the Fury would knock him out quick. So as soon as that happened, everybody jumped on the Johnson, and they were riding that big. They were riding that big Johnson, and that's just
And
what
giving him
happened.
more
And
credit. Yeah, so
right.
let me so maybe you can offer this explanation as well, because there's boxing and then there's heavyweight boxing. Guys, make no mistake about this. In the lower weight divisions, you need that elite level skill set. You need to be a complete fighter, or else you are not going to. You might have some mild success, but you're not going to excel in these lower weight divisions. The heavyweights, though, Rick, you can go very far with just a couple of attributes: size, power,
And a jab.
durability,
And a jab.
athleticism, and a jab. Yes.
Mhm.
And wait a minute. Did we just describe Ngannou or Deontay Wilder, sir?
Right.
Yeah, well,
Very simple.
listen, Wilder could take a punch. He took a lot of them and kept getting up like a dummy. So
No, well, that's my
Yeah.
point. He went very far. In fact, he won the title, and he had several defenses.
10 of them.
And so once again, guys, we should have known it wasn't going to be a complete wipeout, because, this guy proved his durability, and he had seemingly a chin made of granite. In fact, he didn't even bite on any of Tyson Fury's feints. And correct me when I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rick. He was actually countering Tyson Fury effectively.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
But
And
that's because Fury was tired, slow because he was sluggish and
He was
overweight.
slower. He was
Right.
slower than the big man from the UFC. It was shocking.
slow as
Well,
molasses.
it was because he wasn't prepared properly. You'll see when he fights Usyk, he'll be prepared properly. It'll be a different
guys,
guy.
I'll talk to my brother Sugar, and I'm sure I'll be able to reveal some of it. But yeah, I'm sure Sugar's going to have a lot to say tomorrow when I call him.
Yeah, and I think another thing that wasn't very noticeable to me is that Fury's a guy, again, because he's the biggest heavyweight in the division, is used to mauling guys on the inside, putting his body weight on them, tiring them out. Wasn't able to do that with Ngannou because Ngannou was just so physically strong,
Yep.
I think that was a big part of it too, was that he couldn't wear
Well,
him
just
down
to
the way
let
he
you
does other
know,
heavyweights.
let me just explain that to you. What a guy with great balance makes up for that strength difference when a guy is stronger. Normally, if he's got great balance. Normally,
That's true.
Tyson Fury's got great balance, but if you
Yes.
don't train and you're tired, you don't have the balance either.
Mhm.
So
His balance was horrific. Rick.
Horrible.
right.
He honestly, he looked like a shot fighter. I'm
He looked like
hoping
he
that's
looked like
not
a
the
dog.
case.
He looked like a dog taking a piss on a fire hydrant.
You know
Rick,
what, brother?
Is he on the back nine, Rick, you think?
No, I don't think he's in the back nine. No, I think he just didn't train right, and he was tired because of it, and made everything out of kilter. That's what I think.
Well, I trust your judgment. I trust your eyes. You know what you're looking at. I tell you what. Let's go back to. Hold on.
You got a super
Let's
chat, Joe.
Oh, I do. Run. Oh, Ben G. Thank you so much, brother, for the super chat and supporting the Real Rick Glaser. And I love this. This is great. Glad you're feeling better, Rick. Fury is still the best heavyweight in the world. Indeed. Indeed, guys. And once again, I hope that just to piss off all of the diehards who are accusing Tyson Fury of purposely avoiding and just making this entire ruse just to try and sell this event that
Oh my
no one
God.
was interested in with the UFC guy. And I'm like, guys, look, you have no idea what you're talking about. You've got it ass backwards. They quickly wanted to sign and make this so they could use it as a precursor for the big one down the road and introduce this, right? That's the way it was by design. But obviously Tyson Fury, well, he was the fly in the ointment, right?
Yep. And you know
And
that old,
go ahead, sir.
let's say, you know that old saying, in not just in boxing, but in sports, you couldn't beat me on my worst day. Well, this might have been Tyson Fury's worst day, and Ngannou still couldn't get the job done. So,
Well, I
yeah.
tell you what, this was in a rare case, and this is, of course, diehards won't see it this way, but guys, this was truly a win-win. Not only did we get a new player in the heavyweight division that comes with a fan base, but guys, do you realize, because of the controversy, how huge a rematch would be between Tyson Fury, like the Rick? Well, how do you think that does on pay-per-view? And how do you think much bigger the first one it would be?
It does quite a bit bigger because it was so competitive the first time, and people will be anxious to see it.
Yep.
And it's already established as a real fight, just because of the previous fight,
Yep.
So here's the
MMA
$1
guys
million
are
question.
excited now.
They're on board. In fact, they're great fans. They're properly, even though he came up short on the scorecards, brother, you're our champion. You're the real baddest man on the planet. And we love you and we're behind you every step of the way. You know what, man? And that's the healthy way to handle things, guys. And I know I'm not talking to you guys directly. You guys are awesome. But, oh my gosh. Like, where did they pick up this gloom and doom? This glass half empty mentality, Rick? Because I can't put my finger on when it exactly happened. But we didn't used to be like this before we entered into the business.
When some of these bastards were born, their parents questioned, how did this fucking thing come out?
Woo! I tell you what, I didn't say that, guys. I didn't say that. And I've said a lot of
boxing fans are the worst, man, and especially in the US. Rick, you and I were a part of a fantastic card last Saturday night in Inglewood.
Outstanding.
At the it used to be the Great Western Forum, now the Kia Forum. But a fantastic night of fights. There was upsets, there was knockouts in every fight except for one. And people still found a way to complain about that show. I mean, all the fans got their money's worth. Everyone was happy leaving the arena. I just don't get it, man. These guys, they're professional complainers, man. Never happy with anything.
But once again, if the fans are excited and you still hear that electricity and they're still talking about what they just witnessed, that is a successful event. I loved hearing that crackle of the arena among the fans. They were still buzzing about what they just saw. You can't get any better than that. And if you get that kind of response and approval, then what the hell are they complaining about? and especially when they don't spend any money. You know what that's like? That's like a homeless person complaining about interest rates. Yeah, that's it. And I tell you what, let's go, Mr. Gabe Lopez. Thank you for supporting Rick Glaser on this evening. He says, I see Rick Glaser. I click right away. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And once again, for good reason. Rick never holds anything back, and it's always the truth, whether you like it or not. Thank you for supporting Rick on this evening, Gabe. We appreciate it, my friend. And also, our brother, Bruce, Jazz, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to our brother, Bruce. We love you on the show, man. Thank you for being here and supporting Rick Glaser. And he's been on Rick has been on Bruce's show before. Always does a great job. Always a lot of fun. Always great music in the background as well. And there it is. And my brother from New York, Big Lou, he says, hey, big ticket Rick, Well, that doesn't exactly rhyme, but that's close. God bless you, Luke. We love you, man. You're our brother, and we love you, man. God bless you. God bless you and your lovely lady. Hope you guys are doing very well. I haven't spoken in a while. Need to call you. God bless you, man. Hold on. Look at this. Gabe has the beat here. He says, any woman that deals with us, boxing fans, is a keeper. Hold on with both hands, Rick. He's absolutely right.
Woo! Yes, sir. I can tell you this, guys. My wife and I have been living together for 13 years now, and I can't even count how many times I've had a fight party, and she's been happy to host them with me. So, yes. Keep them if they're good with boxing.
Hold on with both hands, guys. Hold on with both hands. But I tell you what, guys, having your best friend by your side and just enjoying life, that's what it's all about, guys. And so once again, we always talk about boxing on this show, but guys, it's okay to miss an occasional Saturday if it means going out and being in the company of a lovely young lady. There's nothing else like it. And guys, I can't understand these assholes who do all kinds of deviant drugs and shit, because there is no greater drug on this earth than being with a beautiful woman. Am I wrong about that, Rick?
Well, if they don't like boxing, then we got another.
Boo!
Yes.
But I tell you what, we want to welcome Fat Belly to the show. Welcome to the show, sir. And thank you for supporting Rick. He says, I've been paying for all my boxing as a hardcore. It's the crappy pay-per-views like the one Showtime was putting on. Well, look, we don't care, because when it's a big pay-per-view event, you've got a lot of help. The most important thing you can sponsor and financially support are the regular subscriber dates and tune in. That's where the future stars are made. Those are arguably the most important. So guys, don't listen to all these guys who bellyache about the pay-per-views, because these ones, the regular subscriber dates, are by far the most important.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you support, guys.
Continue to watch those shows. Like look, Showbox is gone now, and that was the new generation, guys. Yep. That was the prospects that were right on the cusp of becoming a contender if they win these fights on these type of shows. And I talked with Paco Presents down there in LA, and we talked briefly about Showtime dipping out of boxing, and he's like, man, this hurts, because he put on a Showbox card earlier this year in my area, and I was there. He gave me credentials to it, and I covered it. So yeah, man, you guys got to do a better job, man. These young guys here, they need a platform,
That's it. And you know what, guys? And once again, Rick, is it possible to cultivate the future stars of the sport without TV dates?
It's possible, but it's a lot harder.
Yep. Yep. Now, once again, Rick is right. It is possible, but it makes it so much more difficult, because there's no denying that special talent, and they are going to, find their wings and fly, right? But damn, it makes it so much more difficult if no one can see him on the national level. Yep. And there it is. So we want to welcome our brother Peter Von Arts. Evening to you, my friend. Thank you for being here, my friend. Virtuoso, guitar player, multi-talented, as well as a damn fine human being, Peter Von Arts.
Yes,
and there it
Peter.
Is. So, let's see. Oh, here it is. The Fight Doctor. Shout out to the Don. Yes, sir.
Fight
the
Doctor.
Boss. And also, let's see. The Drunken Irishman. I love it. Hardline Boxing Talk said it perfect. There it is. Hold on. One more. And then we have to get back to the program, because, oh my gosh, we have 3 minutes left, Rick. What the hell? I guess that is true. The old adage, time flies when you're getting old. Fun. No, I'm kidding. When you're having fun. I am your leader. Welcome to the show, sir. And I know you're saluting Peter, but I know you meant Rick Glaser. Yes, sir. Let's. Oh, I'm sorry. Yadir, welcome to the show, man. Oh yeah, what up, Rick? Is that Warwick? Yes, sir. Of course. And once again, if you didn't know, Warwick Radio Network. That's an homage to our very dear friend, and we miss him every day. The incomparable, obviously, or arguably the best to have ever done it. He, in my opinion, he is the very best. He's in the Hall of Fame for not only being the one of the best promoters of all time, but in my opinion, and close your ears, Rick, the greatest matchmaker of all time, Don Warwick Chargan. In fact, that's how he got his nickname, for being the matchmaker for Eileen Eaton at the Classic Olympic Auditorium in LA. He was forced for 25 years to come up with a new, just a new fight card every single weekend. And so people were like, how the hell do you do that? And so they gave him that moniker, War a Week, because he was forced to come up with an exciting War a Week for 25 years. Now, Rick, could you think of anyone else who could do that? And don't say yourself, because
No, I don't do that. That's not what I do. So, no, it's not me. Bruce Trampler did it back in the.
Bruce, he's a legend. Yeah,
in the 80s and the 90s, Bruce did it.
Yep.
There's a couple guys. Brad Goodman can do it. There's a few guys, but not many.
Brad Goodman, in my opinion, Rick, and this is no offense to you, because you're great and you've got that matchmaker's eye, but in my opinion, Brad Goodman today is the very best.
Oh yeah, no question.
That guy is exceptional, and he's talented. And it's almost like when you talk to him, it's like he's got an instinct or a feel that says, no, it's not the right time yet. Uh-huh. And it's unexplainable. He's a freak, and he's Brad. So please explain, what is the most difficult and patience trying part of being a matchmaker? Because most fans don't know this part of it.
There's two things. The hardest part, the three things: judging talent of your own guy and the other guy you're putting them in the ring with, having the patience to know when to move them up, like you said about Brad. Mm-hmm. And here's something that's hard: when you know it's the right guy for the fighter, and the manager of the fighter, who you're supposed to be guiding as the matchmaker for the promoter, the house fighter, the manager tells you no after you think it's the perfect guy. That pisses you off like a motherfucker.
Of course, because you know it's the right fit.
Right. I want to put my hand through the fucking phone and grab him by the neck.
But I will say this though, that's the most, in my opinion, and I'm a salesperson. That is the most difficult part of the job, is convincing everyone involved that it's the right thing to do. And boy, I tell you what, it can try your patience. And you have to have the patience of Job when you're actually trying to do this.
The two great lines that I use as a matchmaker is a guy, you call up a guy who, I got a fight for you on November 9th. He says, who's the opponent? You. Now, you want to know who you're fighting?
And you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right.
Then the other one is they turn down the fight and they say it's not enough money. Okay, so let's say it's a $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 fight. Okay, so let me ask you a question. It's not enough money. If you don't take that fight, what will you be doing on Saturday night?
And there it is.
And how much money will you be making? I'll be at the pool hall and shooting pool, and maybe I'll make myself $60, $80, maybe $100. I said, okay, so you just turned down $15,000 to make $100. Okay, I don't know what school you went to, but the business school I mentioned tells you you're fucked up.
Woo! And look, guys, it's you got to deal with that, in my opinion. And some guys just won't budge, and you really have to work them. And it's a pain in the ass, but it's worth it if you can get the job done and you can deliver. And that's the best feeling in this business, is when you deliver the goods and everything works out and you can just sit back and enjoy your work. And
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing, man.
I had a fighter call me up one time years ago. I put him in a fight, and a guy calls me up about 3 days later after he signed the contract. He said, "Man, I talked to my wife. We don't have a babysitter.
Oh, shit.
We don't have a babysitter for those 4 days. I'm going to be out of town." So I says, "Can you do me a favor? Have your wife call me back." So she calls me back. He says, "Yeah, we can't get a babysitter." So you know what I did? This was in the suburb, a Maryland suburb. I called up a guy I know over there, and he has a son. And I said, what's your son doing for the next 4 days?" He says, "Now I'm pissed off at him." He says, "Well, I don't expect your son to go babysit anybody, but see if he's got a girlfriend or a female friend that could babysit this kid." They only had one kid. And I says, no big deal. So make a long story short, the woman went over there, the young lady went over there, babysat the guy for 4 days. He took the fight. And I told these people, I'd be so generous, I'm going to pay for the babysitter. You don't have to pay for it. Oh, they were so happy.
Right
Took the
on,
fight.
man.
He took the fight. He actually scored a 4th-round knockout. And the rest is history. You just got to do what you got to do.
Got to find a way, brother. Find a
You
way
gotta
to make it
find a way.
happen, man. And that's
Exactly.
it. It's almost like being a producer of a film.
Yep.
You're the guy who just gets it done.
Yep.
And if you've got a problem with the city, you take care of it. If you have a problem with the actor's family, you take care of it. And
Don't matter.
that's it. You find a way.
That's
In the
it.
immortal words
Listen.
of Don Chargan, get it
Listen,
done.
I got to roll here because I got a conference call at 10:30.
Hold
I'm
on, real quick.
unprepared.
Real quick, my friend. I saved the best for last. We do have one fact or fiction, and here it is just for you, Rick Glaser. To start 2024 fact or fiction, Al Heyman and PBC will still be without a consistent mainstream platform. Fact or fiction?
They will be out. They will be without a known entity in the boxing business as doing fights. Now, could they come up with some offshoot network? Yeah, it's a possibility. There's 1,000 channels, but Amazon Prime may start doing boxing, but there's not going to be no money. It's strictly going to be for pay-per-view distribution. The Al Heyman business model, the PBC business model is in deep, deep, deep shit right now.
Yep. And well, I will say this. You can't go to BLK Prime because Terrence Crawford soured them away from boxing. So Al Heyman, no, you can't go ruin that one. Terrence Crawford beat you to it. And there it is. So Rick, guys, I tell you what, it's always a pleasure. And Rick, welcome back, sir. And we're glad you're getting back to the road to recovery. And you know what? It's just not as good of a place without you, my friend. We love you on the show, and we always appreciate your nuggets of wisdom. Any parting shots before you exit the show, sir?
No, my Twitter account is @RealRickGlaser1, and I'm a verified account. I got about 8,800 followers, and I answer all boxing questions, and that's the story there. So if anybody would like to follow me, you're more than welcome. Joe, I look forward to next Monday night. And G-Funk, I look forward to next Monday night. Okay?
Yes,
I as
sir.
well, sir. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And guys, you get to say now, instead of just hearing boxing, you got to know a little bit of the real Rick Glaser. How do you like that? And there it is. A round of applause, please, sir.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, Rick.
I tell you what, guys. You know what? It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Rick, this guy has done it all, man, in this business. And you haven't even heard the stories about Don King yet.
Right.
and once again, it's I just wanted you guys to get to know, because he always comes on here and he's very selfless, and he gives us his expertise in the business of boxing and everything about it. but he never is able to disclose and talk about his lovely wife, his relationship, his beloved Yankees. He's a huge Yankee fan, by the way. And but I tell you what, G Funky, yeah, what was it like hanging out with Rick in L.A.?
It was good, man. It was good. Real cool to meet Rick in person. And he's a real good businessman. Like I said, I told him this there. So, it was a pleasure meeting you here in person and a pleasure doing business with you. There was nothing negative I could say about my experience with Rick Glaser down in LA and doing business. Really good guy, man. He knows what he's doing.
So, guys, any of these idiots who come up with these theories, and this is if you can hang on for an additional couple minutes, we're gonna tackle this shit because it has to be addressed. These assholes who come up with these conspiracy theories that always imply someone fucking somebody out of an opportunity, guys. Look, every business is all about building relationships, every successful one. Guys, boxing is no different. Rick, he wants to take care of everyone. Not only does he have that sense of pride that he did a great job, but he likes seeing everyone happy with how they've been treated. And you know what? Client retention is everything in any line of work, including boxing. And you have to be that way, guys. So anyone who thinks that these promoters, these state athletic commissions, they're trying to fuck some poor, hardworking fighter, take advantage of them, it's not true, guys. We treat them like gold. They're family to us. Like all of my fighters here in the greater San Antonio area, they're some of my best friends. And we hang out, and I always take care of them. Guys, I love these guys. I love the business. And honestly, it's an honor to be a part of it because you meet some of the best people. But with that said, the people who are there and don't know anything about the business and are trying to look for a fast buck, boy, they stick out like a turd in a punch bowl. And it's terrible. And once again, we quickly identify that and we run them out because they are up to no good in Inglewood. But I will say this, though. Rick, it's that Sudafed. Sorry, man. G Funky, have you been seeing all of the shit that's been published on everyone's favorite social media page? And have you read one kind thing about the event that just took place in Saudi Arabia?
Very rare to see somebody say something positive about the event, even though it's looking like it's going to be by far the biggest event of the year for boxing. It's very funny how guys who talk shit about it all week long, it's not a real fight, it's a bullshit event, it's a joke. But yeah, they've got all the time in the world to talk about it now, and somehow, some way they watched it, right? So looks like you actually wasted your own time, according to what you were saying, all week.
Yeah, look, guys, and once again, we didn't get to talk about O'Shaquie Foster versus Rocky Hernandez. And guess what? That was my doing, and that was intentional. Because guess what? You guys leading up, well, not you guys. Now, once again, I love you guys. You guys are the greatest boxing fans that I know of. You guys are insightful. You guys are intelligent. And that's obviously why you guys are listening to this show. Because dipshits, guys who are mentally ill and who believe in bullshit conspiracy. So there was one that really stuck out that guys that I used to respect are adhering to, and it's absolutely void of logic and common sense. Let me try to find it because it is absolutely shocking. G Funky, I'm serious. It is staggering. Let's see. Well, did you hear Antonio Tarver's comments on
Yes,
the
I
event
did.
that just took place?
Yes,
And
I did.
yeah, he is spot on. And I co-signed because he said everything that I told you on Friday on your show, on your channel. And I said, Tarver's spot on here. Fury and Ngannou will prove to be the most impactful and culturally significant to the business of boxing in 2023 by far, as well as being the biggest grossing pay-per-view from what I've been told, guys. Now I'm saving the figure for Rick, but from what I've been told, they're expecting a gross proceeds killing over $120 million gross. This pay-per-view, this insignificant, and once again, I will never forget the consummate pessimist from Korea, Steve Kim. He said, I posted on Twitter, is there anyone who's actually going to order this thing? That is, and once again, these self-absorbed assholes who claim to have their finger on the pulse of everything boxing. Well, they couldn't be any further from the truth. Why the fuck should anyone listen to these self-righteous, self-absorbed guys who are too busy patting themselves on the back where they can't see 2 inches in front of their faces?
Well, it's funny. They'll say things like that, but then they'll dedicate a whole podcast to the event.
And that's it. Guys, and I tell you what, it's a privilege to understand that who's joining us, well, the boss. It's my brother, Rodney Green from Warwick Radio. I tell you what, guys, if you haven't heard his show yet, boy, it's special because Rodney, he has some of the best eyes in the business. And he told everyone this weeks ago that, hey, guys, you know what? This looks like it's shaping up to be one of the biggest events and could possibly be one of the most important for our business of boxing because it's going to shape the way everything looks in 2024. And guess what? Yeah, Rod's correct. But you know what? I can count on one hand over the past decade how many times he's been wrong. That's how sharp Rodney Green is. Guys, you don't want to miss his show every single Wednesday evening. It's great to have you here, my friend. And thank you for being part of the team once again. Also, my brother, Hard Times Boxing. I bought the Tyson Ngannou pay-per-view on the off chance Tyson was going to get chinned. I didn't want to miss it. Money well spent. And once again, guys, that's it. We will love that drama. And it's a win-win for boxing.
Yes, guys.
No matter.
Isn't that why football fans watch their team play, even though they have a fucking terrible record on Sundays? Because the old saying is what? Any given Sunday, right?
That's it. It's the unscripted drama.
Yeah, same thing in boxing with the theater of the unexpected. One punch can change everything. Oh man, these guys, the fans today are in the U.S. market. I don't want to talk about worldwide fans because they're great.
No. I tell you
Europe,
what, fans
Australia,
in the UK, Australia, everywhere else,
Japan, Asia, Central South America, great. It's here that these guys are fucking terrible.
And I can't explain it, G, because we never used to be this way.
No,
we never did. Like, honestly, it's like it was, we wanted to feel that thrill of a real ebb and flow fight where you really couldn't anticipate the winner.
Yep. And I'm gonna say this real quickly because I do have to go here in a few minutes. There's a reason why the last show that I did on my channel with Joseph, where I talked about how I was gonna disassociate my channel from YTBC.
Yep.
Because it is such garbage these days, right? And don't worry, I'm gonna do a show on this. I'm gonna break down everything because I've been in that community long enough to see the the change that happened in a lot of channels and when a lot of things started happening. All this is going to be addressed, but that's the main reason why I decided to start working with fighters in my region, because the YouTube boxing community is just shit. Absolute shit, man. And trust me, it's going to all be addressed, man. All of it. But yeah, that's the main reason why I decided to start doing more things, helping fighters in my region with fights, man.
And I tell you what, G Funky, the boxing business will be much better off with you in it, brother. Thank you, man,
Thank
for
you.
doing that. Thank you for doing that, my friend. I'm trying to find it still, guys. Well, I will bring this up though, while I'm still looking. So, did you hear Malik Scott? And he said it almost gushingly, like it was a shoe-in. Guys, I'm telling you, it's anything but. He broke the news saying, Wilder and Ngannou, yeah, we're already in talks with Ngannou. And you know what? Can't wait. It's going to be a great event. And I'm like, well, you're going to be waiting a very long time, sir. Because Malik Scott, although he's a very smart individual, very insightful, and I always knew this about him. I even told him this once when he was still fighting. He was on the Pugilist Corner, our old show, me and Rodney. I said, you know what? You're going to be an excellent trainer. Your insight is really impressive. He was like, well, yeah, I want to be. So thank you, man. He is, but he still doesn't understand the business of boxing. Guys, that's why we're here, to give you guys this insight, to let you guys pull back the curtain so you guys see how everything is done.
Yeah.
And this is something that a lot of fighters and people in the business still don't fully understand.
Yeah, and I spoke with Malik Scott. He was training John Scrappy Ramirez, who was on the card that I was at.
He had a big victory.
Yep, trained Zurdo Ramirez for his last fight. Yeah, I got his phone number, asked him if he wanted to come on the channel. He said, absolutely. Give me a call when you're ready. I said, all right. So I'm going to be reaching out soon to Malik
He
Scott.
is a cool guy and a super, super insightful. He is going to be one of the elite trainers here in about 10 years, right?
Yep.
And it's only a matter of time before he has the busiest stable of fighters. Let's just pray that we get to replenish those 20 missing dates next year. Now, what are these same assholes, the same guys who, well, basically caused Showtime to back out of the business? What are they going to say without those 20 dates next year when they see gaps of 3 or 4 weeks between events?
Yep, they're going to be bitching and moaning how there's no boxing on, and this is why the sport is so bad. They complain about everything. Guys, I'm telling you, it's been almost 2 years now where we've had boxing on almost every single weekend.
Almost
I can
every
count
weekend.
maybe like 2-3 weekends where there wasn't a fight on.
And
Sometimes,
we get spoiled and we're like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, there's no boxing this weekend?
yeah.
Guys.
And then they still complain about that though, Joe.
Yep.
All these matchups are bullshit. These aren't good fights. And blah,
oh
blah.
my gosh.
Jesus, man.
What do
Never
you
happy.
want, man?
Never happy.
And once again, guys, even if they refer back to the old days, guys like Chavez, guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, guys like Tommy Hearns, they didn't fight Goliath after Goliath after Goliath.
Nope.
You can't do that and expect to have a long career. Guys, you have to some fun fights, but, well, odds are it's not going to be nearly as difficult as Sugar Ray Leonard. Guys, you can't fight 3 Sugar Rays in a row. You won't be in boxing for long. Guys, you can't expect to see it every single week. Guys, it's all right to see all levels and to be exposed with to as much talent as this sport and this country has to offer. So here it is, guys. Here are the top 3 reasons why Wilder and Ngannou will never, never, never get made. And number 1, Showtime is out of boxing. Guys, once again, we're starting to see already the residual or negative ripple effect of them exiting from our beloved boxing. Guys, it is never a good thing. And I'll tell you why. There is a residual. Like, sponsors will look at it and they say, well, Showtime just took their investment and backed out. No, I think I'm going to talk to me this time next year. We'll see if we're interested then. It's so much more difficult, guys, when you supposedly, and what we call this in boxing, when there's a death in the family, it makes it so much more difficult to sell sponsorship, to solicit sponsorship. It's so much harder when they see you lose a real asset. Yeah, guess what? There's going to be one walking out the door next to it. That's the way this symbiont industry works. Yep. I can't. Geez. And you know what, man? Something tells me, man, this is just falling on deaf ears. Let's move on. Number 2, the second biggest reason why Wilder Ngannou will never get made. PBC will have a hard time finding another platform, and not just next year, forever. Guys, like we said on Friday night show on G Funky's channel, the word is out. Now, once again, should we feel bad about this, G Funky? Or is it just time?
You know, there's a part of me that does feel bad about it because, you know, I love the sport so much. I watch every fight that I can. You know, obviously it's impossible to watch every single fight, but I do my best. But, you know, it might be a necessity to have, you know, a certain Mr. Guy who's ahead of that brand of fighting. Yeah, yep. He's burned a lot of bridges, you know, made networks turn away from boxing.
Yep.
Might be time. Might be that time.
Well, look. And this is the reason why. Because his reputation indeed has preceded him. And he's already been, like, the word is out. This is a guy who is self-serving. And he is not interested in, well, a network return on their investment. He doesn't care. He's in it for himself, and he's in it for the fighters. That's it. Guys, who furnishes the TV dates? The networks. So De La Hoya, he's doing the right thing to help DAZN try to boost subscriptions. Instead of paying his fighters, these inflated purses, guess what? He's not putting Haney and Prograis on pay-per-view. He's doing the exact opposite. He's giving DAZN Ryan Garcia. The currently the biggest star on DAZN outside of Anthony Joshua. And it's going to be on a regular subscriber DAZN. And that's it. Guys, he gets it. I mean, if you notice, he's been hanging out with Bobo lately in Vegas. He just moved down there. You think it's rubbing off on him?
Yep, he was in Saudi Arabia too.
That speaks volumes, brother. Guess who wasn't there?
Yep.
Woo! I tell you what, guys, that also speaks volumes. Guys, this is the dawning of a new era in boxing. And once again, some collateral damage, so to speak, is going to be all of the crossover events that will be seen. And so once again, there are two ways of looking at everything. Everything in life is a blessing and a curse, right? And including this last decision that we just saw.
Yep.
So once again, everyone is looking at the black cloud above Tyson Fury. Oh, he's been exposed. Oh, I told you he was a fraud. Yeah, guys, look, anyone who can defeat Vladimir Klitschko as a champion in Germany, I don't care if he is 40 years old. This is a guy who still went into Wembley Stadium and gave Anthony Joshua hell 2 years after the fact. Mm-hmm. So Tyson Fury basically, scored almost a shutout over the Vladimir Klitschko, all-time great Hall of Famer. right? This
Yep.
guy is not a fraud. It's obvious to us. Whoever is saying something like that obviously has no clue what they're looking at in the ring. And that's a God's honest truth. That's it. That's the only explanation I can have. I mean, do you have another explanation for it, G-Funky?
No, man. No, I don't. But Joe, I do have to go. It's approaching
Got you, brother. I
8
tell you
p.m.
what.
my time. You could go ahead and continue to cook, man. I'll be listening, but I gotta get the kids ready for bed.
Yeah, 90 minutes is a great cutoff time. And guys, once again, please go subscribe to G-Funky Boxing. He is one of the few, the proud, the truth. Guys, there's nothing wrong with telling the truth. It's a lot easier than selling bullshit, and it's a lot more convincing. Unfortunately, these guys in the YouTube boxing community, they've grown so accustomed to hearing bullshit 24/7 that when they're faced with the truth, it's hard to recognize it now, isn't it, G?
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, that's going to just about do it, guys. On behalf of my brother G-Funky, I'm Joseph Aaron. Guys, thank you for joining us for Real Rick Glaser, the return of Rick Glaser. And guys, don't forget, this show is always brought to you by Rod Vachon Holdings. Guys, if you're in the market and if you're going to take part in this mass exodus in moving to the great Lone Star State, guys, look up if you're in the market for a new house. You work with the very best. You won't be disappointed. Rod Vachon Holdings. For more information, go visit rodvachonholdings.com. Guys, on behalf of G-Funky, I'm Joseph Aaron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.
FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.